Tonight, we begin with a case that has captured national attention and raised important questions about political discourse, accountability, and the limits of public commentary. A defamation lawsuit filed by Government Minister Darrell Vaz against PNP General Secretary and Member of Parliament, Dr. Dayton Campbell, has been settled, with Dr. Campbell to issue a written apology, withdrawing these statements in question and acknowledging they were false. What does this development mean for political communication in Jamaica? Then speeding and impaired driving continue to claim lives on our roadways. Authorities are now stepping up enforcement with new technology aimed at detecting dangerous drivers before tragedy strikes. Later, new figures reveal hundreds of Jamaican children remain missing despite the efforts of law enforcement and child protection agencies. We examine the concerning trend, and in our final segment, we look at the growing problem of bullying in schools and what more can be done to protect our students. I'm Tyrone Reed, and this is Lead Story. Thanks so much for staying with us. A defamation lawsuit filed by Government Minister Darrell Vaz against PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell has been settled. The matter stemmed from comments made by Dr. Campbell during a political campaign or on the political platform in July 2023. Those comments were interpreted as linking Mr. Vaz to the 1983 murder of Diane Smith and to an alleged 2015 plot to assassinate then opposition leader Andrew Holness. Under the terms of the agreement, Dr. Campbell has to issue a written apology, withdraw the statements, acknowledge they were false, and agree to publish apologies across multiple platforms. He will also need to pay, according to documents we've seen here at CVM TV, $1.5 million in costs associated with the matter. The development has reignited the debate, though, about the responsibilities of political figures and consequences of public allegations. Joining me now to discuss this further, political commentator Jermaine Barrett. Top of the evening to you, Dr. Barrett. How are things with you?
Good morning, my friend, my persistently erroneous friend, referring to me as Dr. ever so often.
That's a running joke between myself and Dr. Barrett, because we're supposed to be merchants of fact, but the fact that I call him Dr. Barrett is a running joke between myself and Jermaine Barrett, who has agreed
It's not defamatory.
It's not defamatory, and I'm not trying to be a merchant of things that aren't factual, right? But Jermaine Barrett, we're seeing the documentation saying this matter has been settled, and the what should ensue in terms of what the PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell would need to do. What does this settlement, how does it impact the political discourse, particularly on the campaign trail?
Well, one would hope that the lessons that are to be learned here have been learned or are being learned, and that political candidates need to be careful and not just pander to the masses and dangle the red meat as they ever so oftentimes do, unmindful of the truthfulness of their comments. Obviously, we live in a post-factual world, a world where facts don't matter. It's about sensationalism, it's about hype, it's about just being alarmist. And those comments, as is indicated by the ruling of the court, were inappropriate. They were defamatory. They served to undermine the integrity of the Minister Vaz, and the court has certainly acted and ruled appropriately to provide redress.
Do you think, Jermaine Barrett, that this ruling will cause people going forward to temper their pronouncements on the political campaign trail? Do you think that will happen?
I mean, it might very well be a 9-day wonder. Unfortunately, that's how politics is in Jamaica. It was so often on the political, campaign trail. The candidates, politicians it's as though they lose their minds, really. When you listen to the things that they say and the way they speak, it's really, really, quite frankly, disrespectful, I contend, to the people of Jamaica, because when you hear them speak in Parliament, not that they necessarily have to elevate the language to those levels of sophistication, but the way they speak, for example, is really just quite off-putting, to be honest. And secondly, I would also add that one would hope that this points to the fact that we need to have more substantive discussions, debates, even on the public platform, and leave out the diatribe and the sort of over the sensational rhetoric, and stick to the issues. Yes, the issues are what matter. The issues are what impact people's lives, and politicians need to lift the conversation even on the political platform.
I'm not certain if I'm hearing in your voice there any amount of you being convinced, Jermaine Barrett, that this ruling in particular will lead to a lifting of the conversation bar as it relates to what passes as political dialogue. Is that what I'm hearing from you? You're not confident that this will result in a lifting of that bar?
No, I'm not. I mean, we're several years out from the elections, the silly season, really. And invariably, you will have candidates who will say very unfortunate things on the platform, particularly those candidates who are just coming into the political fray and are trying to get a hype, to get a forward, if you will. They will make these very alarmist and outrageous statements. And the environment will be populated and will comprise a lot of those kinds of unfortunate comments. So I don't think that is going to be a significant or tangible change with respect to the political discourse within the country. But it really should. I would hope that it does. And I think maybe we might need one or two more of these kinds of rulings to really bring home the message forcefully to political aspirants that this kind of diatribe is absolutely unacceptable and will lead to penalties.
There is that political culture that people have grown accustomed to, the political theater, if you will, Jermaine Barrett. There are those who are looking on and saying, people like yourself, you're trying to quash the political theater, and it's a part of our culture politically. How would you respond to those who criticize this kind of a view of what takes place on the campaign trail?
Well, I think those persons are certainly not appreciating of the impact, not appreciating rather, of the impact that this kind of comment has on the lives of people, many of whom are quite frankly innocent. I mean, there was a ruling on the matter, and the court ruled that there was not a case against Darren Vaz. Now, there's a lot of political and public sentiment, still holding him guilty of a supposed crime. But the facts are the facts. The court rules that the court ruled on the matter and determined that there was not a case, right? So I think it's inappropriate for a politician to, out of a need to sort of exhibit a kind of a populist aura about themselves, to really drag people's reputation through the mud. I mean, yes, it's exciting, and it causes people to laugh and to giggle and to enjoy themselves, and it's a part of the culture of the politics. But one also needs to be mindful of what, quite frankly, is the damage being done by people and their reputations, and that needs to be guarded against. It's unwanted and it's unwarranted.
Which is a great segue to my next question for you, Jermaine Barrett. Can we have both? Can we have our cake and eat it too? Can we have the substance and the so-called hype at the same time? Is it either or? Very often it's either or, but does it have to be that way?
And so let me just be clear here, Tyrone. We can have the theater without the diatribe and the disgusting rhetoric. So, for example, it comes to mind Damien Crawford, who delivering a very entertaining and exciting, electric even political speech, used the comment, "What can go so?" right? And that has really taken off. It has become a part of the lingo. Even on the government side, they use it as well. It has captivated the public, right? So those kinds of things are to be embraced because they're part of our culture. What should not be embraced, though, is rhetoric that is unfounded and disruptive to people's reputation. We have laws about laws against these things. And in a civilized society, in a society that tries to ensure that people aren't damaged in ways that are unjustified, we really need to maintain those laws and support the maintenance of those laws.
How do you see this settlement, Dr. Barrett? A win for our political culture and the maturation of our democracy? Do you see it like that?
Well, it's a small win in the grand scheme of things, I think. I don't think, as I said before, that things will change fundamentally in terms of the disinclination of politicians to do these kinds of things and to meet those kinds of statements. But I think with time, maybe several other cases brought before the courts and several other rulings that are synonymous with this one will ultimately lead to the cultivation of the kind of political culture that is far more productive and focused on the issues. The second thing I want to point out to here, Tyrone, is as I read the ruling, I was very much pleased with how modern the courts are in terms of the prescription for remedy, talking about social media and how it is that it's supposed to be featured on Dr. Campbell's social media platform and so forth. So it now engages the platforms that are vogue, that are being used by people, because it's one thing for you to issue an apology. It's another thing to have that apology percolating throughout the society, and social media is, quite frankly, a powerful platform for that. So I want to commend the court for being, quite frankly, modern and up-to-date with its approach.
I'm out of time, but I have to ask you this. The purveyors of misinformation, disinformation on social media, beware. Isn't that also something that should be taken from this?
Absolutely, and conversations are being had and should be had as to how it is that we even regulate those spaces without, of course, creating a kind of chilling effect to conversations that are necessary in order to kind of have the public share their views on governance and other sorts of issues. So it's a fine balancing act, but certainly what is clear is that in this instance, it was an inappropriate act by Dr. Campbell, and I'm happy that the court has ruled accordingly.
Thank you so very much. You heard the views there. Political commentator Jermaine Barrett. I appreciate the time and the thoughts, Jermaine Barrett.
You're welcome, Tyrone, my friend.
Indeed.
Professor Tyrone.
That's all we have time for in this segment. We take the break right here, and when we come back, we'll have another segment lined up for you. Soon come.
Attention government pensioners. The Accountant General's Department Life Certificate Drive is coming your way. Look out for us on the following dates. Saturday, June 27th, Spanish Town Library. Monday, June 29, Morant Villas in St. Thomas. Tuesday, June 30, Portland Parish Library. Wednesday, July 1, St. Mary Parish Library. Thursday, July 2, St. Anne Parish Library. Friday, July 3, Trelawney Parish Library. Saturday, July 4, St. James Parish Library. Monday, July 6, Hanover Parish Library. Tuesday, July 7, Westmoreland Parish Library. Wednesday, July 8, St. James Methodist Church in Clarendon. Thursday, July 9, Manchester Parish Library. Friday, July 10, St. Matthew's Anglican Church in St. Elizabeth. And on Saturday, July 11, at the Portmore Parish Library. Remember, drop boxes are also available at parish libraries in Hanover, St. James, Portland, Westmoreland, and Manchester. Follow our social media pages and the press for more details.
Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, down from 13.2% in 2016. Our government's continued focus on job creation is delivering real results. We are building Jamaica. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
Hey, what I want?
Hi, I am Candy Pang.
What I want?
What a guan?
That I want.
What a guan? What a guan?
What a guan? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m.
on CVM TV.
That I want. What I want?
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. Now, road safety remains a major national concern, while Jamaica has recorded a significant decline in road fatalities so far this year in comparison to the corresponding period for last year. Speeding and impaired driving continue to be among the leading causes of serious crashes. In an effort to strengthen enforcement, the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement branch of the JCF has received 5 new laser speed guns through support from PAHO, the World Health Organization, the National Road Safety Council, and the United Nations Road Safety Project. The new devices are capable of capturing speed data and, check this out, video evidence. Now, I just said, folks, yes, these new speed guns can record you breaking the speed limit, yes, providing law enforcement with stronger tools to detect and prosecute traffic offenders. Joining me now to discuss this is Tyrone Walker. He's the Sergeant of Police, and he's the Island Coordinator for the Technical Enforcement Unit in PSTEB, and road safety advocate Canute Hare should also be joining us. Top of the evening to both of you. Welcome to Lead Story.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having me.
A great first name you have there, Sergeant Walker.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Sergeant Walker, talk to us about these. First of all, people who are speeding and breaking the speed limit need to be aware now. You have these new guns in your possession that can actually record their cars. This is the case, yes?
Yes, it is the case, definitely. These devices are high-tech devices. You know, as you would have mentioned earlier, we have 5 of them presently. The capability, trust me, it is so advanced. It has an effective range of 1,200 meters, which is actually 3/4 miles out. Nearly a mile, we can actually acquire a speed for a target. It actually has the capability of videoing that target coming straight to the officer's foot. And the officer even has the ability to replay what transpired to the motorist if the motorist so requests that. So everything is basically placed in the transparency line of things, you know, yes, with these devices.
You said something about straight to the officer's foot there, Sergeant Walker. Could you repeat that point for me?
So it has the capability of starting to record a target. So, example, the officer see this car coming from way out, even 800 meters out. He can actually acquire the speed for that vehicle. Upon acquiring the speed and realizing that the vehicle would have been in excess of the speed limit, he has the capability of recording the vehicle coming straight towards him, right at his foot.
So the days of saying, of showing someone a speed reading and the person saying to an officer, look, how do you know that's me? Those days are over.
Those days are over. Even though we haven't thrown away those devices, we still have them in rotation, same way, you know, but the transparency line of things is with the high-tech devices, the laser devices. You know, we have the capability of showing back a video footage of what transpired.
So 1,200 meters, up to 1,200 meters, you say you have 5 new devices. Let's begin with the 1,200 meters. That's how far out you can actually pick up a speed reading. The old device, what was the extent of the radar on that one? How far out could they pick up speed readings?
It was 1,000 meters out.
So you've improved that by about 200 meters?
200, yes. We have improved by 200 so far.
And you only have 5 of these devices now. I gather, is PSTEB making an argument to the Ministry of National Security to procure more of these?
Well, to be on the better side of life, the JCF basically is procuring additional devices as we speak, more laser devices. What we have to understand, we are living in a technological era presently. You know, we stand to place ourselves, whereas we can actually show a higher level of transparency. So the motorists are known our customers, and if we are going to prosecute, we want to prosecute and know that upon doing so, it is transparent to the customers where they don't have to dispute what is being done. The enforcement, is made easier this way. So we have to put ourselves in that line of things presently.
So you may find that fewer people take these matters to court to challenge them because you have the video evidence.
Exactly so, exactly so. So eliminate the whole court proceeding and, having to go to court to find out if it was definitely me he actually caught. Because the previous devices that, even though we still use them, the integrity, is a high level place on the operator himself in terms of how we operate the device. So when it goes to court, it requires him to prove to court that this motorist was definitely one that I actually caught during the whole happenings.
And your job is made easier with these new devices. I want to come back to that question you asked about, that I asked you about whether or not the JCF will be seeking to procure additional laser devices. You did say yes, that is the case. But let me bring in road safety advocate Kenwood here to the conversation. Top of the evening to you, Kenwood here. Thanks so much for making it lead story. We're not hearing Canoe there. Let's see if we can sort his line out. But let me come back to you then, Sergeant Walker. You did say the JCF is in the process of procuring additional laser devices, these new high-tech speed guns. How soon could we see a rollout of these new types of speed guns across the system?
Well, these new ones that we have received presently, they will be placed on the road in short order by actually even the end of this month. Those that are being procured, I'm just giving an estimation of roughly about year end before we would see those rolled out.
So the 5 you now have in hand, those have not been rolled out completely as yet?
Not completely as yet.
I think I saw a policeman with one recently along Washington Boulevard. Is that training or is it in fact in use?
All right, what you have to understand, we have two types. This one that you would have seen would have been actually acquired earlier, last 3 years ago. So it is not really, it is new to what is happening. It is just that each time we acquire, it is more advanced. So we would have acquired 9 previously before this 5, and they are still in rotation. But this 5 that we have acquired presently, they are more advanced than the previous one.
Okay. And you're also looking to get more of these more advanced speed guns by year end, is what you're saying?
Exactly so, exactly so.
Can you say how many you're looking to procure?
Well, we are looking roughly 100 thereabout.
Roughly?
Hopefully we'll receive them.
By year's end. All right, let's bring road safety advocate Kenwood here into the conversation. Let's try one more time. Kenwood here, are you hearing us? Still not hearing Kenwood here.
I'm hearing you.
Wonderful. We're hearing you now, Kenwood here. Thank you so much for making it lead story. I know you're on top of things as it relates to road safety. These new speed guns, these new laser speed guns, do you think they're a game changer?
No. No. And the reason why I say no is because it's not one thing alone is going to affect the road safety apparatus of any country. It is part of an arsenal that is very much needed to help the road safety enforcement operation component. I don't want us to believe that because police get 5 speed gun, it's going to reduce road deaths and so forth. Statistically, there is no relationship between the number of traffic tickets issued and road deaths. It can be checked statistically. There is no statistical significance. However, the police being fitted out with the requisite gadgets. So you're looking at speed guns, yes. breathalyzer system, breathalyzer check should be done also, whereby persons who go to party and who go to sessions and those things should be targeted and checked out to see if they are driving under the influence of alcohol. So it is, I don't want to, when I use the word game changer, it gives the impression that it is this one panacea that needs to be. There is a multiplicity of things that cause people to die on the road network. Bad roads, pothole-infested roads, poor driver behavior, lack of proper training and education of our driving population, lack of proper emergency response systems, poor road design, poor pathetic intersection sight distance. A lot of persons have been killed in traffic crashes in Jamaica, injured in traffic crashes in Jamaica, because the intersection killed them before they reach there. We have to get rid of the killer roads. We have to ensure that the guardrails, the turn down end guardrails, are removed from the traffic environment. Last year, a vehicle hit a turn down end guardrails and mounted it, pole vaulted, enter a pole vault competition. 5 people dead. 5 people dead. Right? We have to ensure that the safe systems approach, the pillars of the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety, which is safer roads and roadsides, safer road users, safer vehicles. Here, I would have released a book, Opaque Fortress, that reveals a lot of things that are going on in the motor vehicle industry, right? There is more to come, because the fact of the matter is that for us to reduce road deaths, we have to deal with the ecosystem, which is human being, vehicle, and environment. And yes, categorically, the police are doing their job with respect to enforcement. They are writing the tickets. For a country with police writing over 500 tickets per year, the police are working. And what that shows indiscipline in our society, and we need to fix that. We need to correct that, because it end up causing a lot of unnecessary injuries to persons.
Canute here, I hear you there. We have to close out this segment, but if I can just ask you, Sergeant Walker, for a brief response to what Canute just said. He's saying these new laser speed guns won't that proverbial silver bullet in terms of road safety. Is he correct?
All right. What we have to look at is that we have to do proper assessment. I do agree in terms of him saying it's a holistic approach towards what is happening presently. There requires at least a level of strategic approach to what is happening. You understand? And it requires us to assess what is happening and see where we can actually, according to all people, nip it in the bud from evil.
I have to bring both of you gentlemen back. I have to bring both of you back. Sergeant Walker, Tyrone Walker, thank you so very much. Canute here. We have to bring you guys back and continue this conversation, but we're out of time. We have to leave it there. This is Lead Story. We take the break right here and come back with more.
Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30. Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes. Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
the internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
The greatest show on earth is here, and Fan Central goes into extra time for 39 days right throughout FIFA's Showpiece tournament, with a Pepsi in hand, of course. Catch the playbook with a tactical breakdown from our expert coaches. Come sit in our fan corner, where you have your say on the day's action. Fame or shame, who are the best or worst players of the day, and have a laugh as we share some of the best reactions on social media. After the final whistle, it's extra time. Fan Central Extra Time. 8 p.m. daily with 10 p.m. shows on select days where there are 8 p.m. match kickoffs.
Fan Central Extra Time is brought to you by the Pepsi Football Nation, where fans make the rules. Football, better with Pepsi. We also want to thank Digicel. Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel.
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyron Reid. Now, the latest figures from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, that's the CPFSA, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, have raised fresh concerns about the number of children being reported missing across the island. It was revealed that in 2025, a total of 989 children were reported missing across the country. Of that number, 826 children were safely returned to their families, while 161 remain missing. Tragically, 2 children reportedly died. The figures also show that girls accounted for the majority of missing children reports, representing 83% of all cases, while boys made up the remaining 17%. The trend has continued into 2026, and of course, that's a cause for concern. Between January and May this year, 468 children were reported missing. Of those, 265 have been safely reunited with their families, but 203 children remain unaccounted for, highlighting the ongoing challenge facing law enforcement and child protection agencies. Now, the parish of St. Catherine accounted for the highest number of missing children reports in 2025, with 349 cases. Manchester and Clarendon followed with 112 and 101 reports, respectively. Where we are to be joined by youth advocate Sabrina Barnes. I gather we should be joined by Sabrina on the phone. She's still not with us, but we're talking about the missing persons reports as it relates to children in the country. And if you look at the math here, the math is a tad concerning. At the rate that has been recorded between January and May this year, if we continue on this trajectory, we'll see more than 1,100 reports of missing children, which would surpass the total number for 2025. That should concern all of us. And as we're saying, we're hoping to hear from a stakeholder, a youth advocate, whose voice has been one of those voices that you've heard frequently on these matters. Sabrina Barnes, we're hoping to be joined by her. But what are the causes for children going missing? Is it that young children are opting to leave home? Are these children being abducted? What are the root causes of this is also something that we would like to drill down into in our conversation with Sabrina Barnes. And of course, as you heard in the numbers, sometimes more often than not, the children are reunited with their families, but other times they remain unaccounted for. And then there are those cases, and we heard of 2 such incidents for the numbers for last year, where the children were reported as having died. And of course, no family wants to hear that. And so we thought it important to have this conversation this evening on Lead Story, to look behind the numbers, to get a better understanding as to what exactly is taking place. Why is it happening? What are the police doing? What about the affected families? How are they coping? It must be quite harrowing. It must be literally a scary thing to not know where your child is. It has to be a very scary endeavor for any parent to navigate, which is why we want to have the conversation to talk about the numbers. And in case you're just joining us, just to run through the numbers one more time, in the event that you're just joining us, if we could go back to... Oh, she's with us. All right. We have Sabrina Barnes with us. Yes. She was supposed to be in studio with us, but we're having some difficulty with the traffic in the corporate area. So Sabrina Barnes, she joins us on the phone. Top of the evening to you, Sabrina Barnes. Welcome to Lead Story.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And we really would have loved for you to be in studio with us to talk about this very critical matter, Sabrina Barnes. But the numbers, if we continue on the trajectory for 2026, we would eclipse the numbers recorded in 2025. That should be a cause of concern for all of us.
Yes, it's quite alarming, especially when we're talking about children. I really think that the attention that this topic needs is not what it's getting.
And why are you of that view, Sabrina, that this situation of missing children isn't getting the attention it deserves? Why have you formed that view?
Because I believe that as a society we are so reactive to missing children and not understanding that there are proactive measures that we can put in place so children don't actually go missing.
And do we have a crisis of children leaving home, children being abducted? Based on your understanding of the statistics, what's the primary cause of these missing children reports?
I mean, I think it's a dual thing. I think children are intentionally leaving homes, and I also feel like children are being abducted. And I really think that it's an issue in homes, in communities, in schools. So it's really a big issue, and I really think that something needs to be done about it, because our children can't continue to go missing and we just react to it.
Which raises the question, Sabrina, about proper parenting or the lack thereof. Are we facing a crisis of poor parenting in the country? Is that what is resulting in children opting to leave home?
I wouldn't even specifically say poor parenting. I want to say that the village is missing. Once there was a village that would be in charge of a child, there would be a third space where children can interact with others that get mentorship. We have that missing.
The village is missing. Quite a poignant observation there. So how do we restore the village? Because in this era of individualism, how do we restore the missing village, Sabrina?
I mean, I really think that the community has to understand that they have a social responsibility when it comes to children. I think that sometimes persons think that because it's not their child that they can't intervene and get something done and ensure that the child is safe or protected. So I really think it's just that call to action to civil society, to communities, to, regular people to understand that children, even if they're not your personal child, that you do have a social responsibility to them.
There are those who would say, and you're a youth advocate, you speak for the youth. There are some who would say the youth don't want to be spoken to, Sabrina. How do we navigate that?
I mean, we also have to learn how to communicate with young people, I think. I also think that sometimes that communication can be done when we allow them to understand what is their best interest, and also for them to communicate what they think is best for them. So I think it's a two-way street. I think you need to allow them to understand, but you also have to understand how to communicate with them.
And for those families where the children who are reported missing, they do not return, are we doing enough, Sabrina Barnes, to provide the assistance that those families need? Because it has to be a harrowing experience to not know where your child is.
It is, and I also think that sometimes we have investigations that go on for way too long. And I feel like sometimes we don't even have enough civil society, we don't have enough government, we don't have enough officials speaking about things that affect children like this, unless, the child already goes missing. So I feel like it needs to be a little bit more proactive, where we have these same agencies that would conduct investigations when the child goes missing, to go into homes, social workers going into homes and to schools to find out how children are living back home and in school, so we can prevent them from going missing.
And the number is 989 for 2025 and 400 plus, I believe it is, so far this year. That is between January and May. And of course, if you look at those numbers, there is an increase there in terms of how many. If we continue on that trajectory, we'll be seeing more than 1,000 children being reported as missing. Sabrina, is enough of an alarm being raised about this? I'll give you that to close.
As I have mentioned, I really think that we need to have more proactive measures. I understand that we're all going to react when a child goes missing, but we also have systems in place to ensure that we keep our children safe. Children deserve that, and they have the right to be protected. So even though we're going to be alarmed when it comes to numbers, there's things that we can do to ensure that these numbers actually don't exist. So I think the focus needs to be on how we protect our children, how we ensure that we uplift their rights, and how we ensure that we have safe environments where they can be safe.
The voice there of Sabrina Barnes, youth advocate. So sorry you weren't able to join us in Cedarburg. We appreciate the time and the thoughts on the phone. This is a lead story. We take the break right here and come back with our final segment.
State-of-the-art security solutions like our new Total Connect smart home automation system that gives you 24/7 access to control your appliances, lights, cameras, and doors using your smartphone, tablet, or PC. As the most trusted electronic security company in Jamaica, Hawkeye has the fastest response times to get to you when you need us most. Trust Hawkeye's Total Connect. Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
What a guan?
What a guan?
That a guan pa.
What a guan? What a guan?
What a guan? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
And that's a guan pa. What a guan?
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Finally tonight, bullying remains one of the most persistent challenges facing schools, with educators, parents and child advocates continuing to sound the alarm about its impact on students' mental health, academic performance and overall well-being. Whether it occurs in the classroom, on the playing field or online, the consequences can be long-lasting. As the new school year approaches, there are renewed calls for greater intervention, education and support. Joining me now is President of the Jamaica Association of Principals for Secondary Schools, Aniona Jones. Top of the evening to you. Welcome.
Thank you.
To Lead Story. Appreciate you being here. This whole business of bullying, Principal Jones, are we taking it seriously? And are you concerned about the increase in the reports?
I think we're beginning to take it seriously. I think it has been such a common feature in our country, just persons saying whatever they feel like, and that's considered strength, and I'm frank and forthright, so I say whatever I feel like with no consideration for how it impacts somebody else. And then for many of us, if we think about how we were raised, somebody was telling you, your head big like, you're black like, you're fat like, and these became things that we were told growing up. So we became somewhat desensitized. However, with the advent of social media and being able to record in lifetime and graphic detail what is happening, people are beginning to understand just how dangerous this is. And I would love to see even greater national attention being brought to dealing quite decisively with any act that is violent or demeans another person, whether done at school, in the community, on our streets.
It's interesting you touch on that aspect of social media. It has weaponized this malady of bullying, hasn't it?
It has. It has. If you think about iShowSpeed and just 53 million people journeying with him through 3-4 hours of his life, that kind of reach. So a child can have an adverse experience, and within a matter of seconds, millions of people are witnessing this human being at their lowest possible moment. And the victim feels
even more exposed as a result of that.
Not only that, it is now something that we want to go viral at the expense of someone else's demise. And that kind of mindset where our value is about the clicks and the likes, and we don't care how it impacts somebody else. And if you think about even accidents, and the first thing is that somebody wants to take out their phone and they want to video your car on file. They want to video your body on the ground with no thought about, is that the way that my mother, my wife, my cousin is going to see me on the ground bloodied? So these are some of the things that we too are grappling with in schools. Let us not forget, anything that happens in society also happens within schools. And we are always significantly outnumbered as educators, the number of teachers to students and all the things that we have to grapple with. And so some schools have made the decision to manage these devices in such a way that we lock them down until we create an environment in which we can monitor what's happening within the hours of school.
We also have joining us the conversation tonight is Regime Nelson. He's the president of the National Secondary Students Council. He joins us on Zoom. Top of the evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So, Mr. President of the National Secondary Students Council, the increase in the reports is one thing, and I'd love to get your reaction to that. But there are some who might advance that the increase in the reports might be a good thing because it's an indicator that we are becoming more discerning of the malady of bullying. How do you see it?
I see it in a sense that we understand bullying, but do we understand it to its fullest potential? While we understand that, a child gets bullied and, it's all about, when bullying takes place, it's about the physical aspect, the mental aspect, and the emotional aspect. So once we kind of tackle those and kind of see how best we can decrease in the way how bullying is put forward to the students, because as I said before, what happens in the real world is happening with the schools, because you have students carrying knives to school, we have students taking to when hitting others. So whatever happens in the outside world does happen in the review world. So we need to see how best we can decrease how bullying is active in our schools.
And perhaps one of the burning questions I'd like to ask you, Mr. Nelson, is how do we get this message across to your peers that bullying ought to be shunned? Because I'm not certain that the message is catching on.
Well, I think that we need to educate the students more about the consequences of bullying. We're not talking about just the persons who are being bullied, but also educating them too. Because once a student is bullied enough, they're going to try to say, okay, how can I get my comeback? Some may shy away, and the academics might fall, and they be in the shadow. But once we educate everybody on the effects of bullying, we'll kind of have a good understanding of how we will be moving forward.
I see you nodding your head in studio, Principal Jones, about the increase in the reports. It can be viewed as a good thing because it is saying to us people are discerning that bullying is a malady that should be reported.
We want to, as school leaders, know that we have systems in place in our schools where every child can access an adult. So let's start with that. That they feel safe enough that when something happens on somebody's status or online, and an online forum is created to bully a child, somebody will bring it to our attention. That's important to us. So if more children are getting more comfortable finding an adult to talk to, we should see the numbers initially spike. That will give us a more realistic picture of what's actually happening, because oftentimes several elements of bullying is underreported, especially with our boys. Man up, you take that as you suffers, you make that bother you, and then the toxic positivity. I can do all things through Christ and I'm highly blessed, and so persons don't actually speak up about the things that they're going through.
Toxic positivity.
Yes, where we ignore the realities of what we're feeling. And we bury it so deep that it gets compacted, and then we start to have real mental issues. And it's not just on the part of the children among themselves. It's also between adults and children within schools. And don't get it twisted, these little ones can be very vicious even to us as the adults within schools. Because when a child says something and does something, we're expected as the adults to not match their energy. But don't forget, we're humans too. So
should that happen though, Ms. Jones?
It happens.
Shouldn't the adults in the room be the adults in the room?
And it does not mean that we don't get hurt.
Yeah, but do we match energy?
We try not to. We honestly try not to. There are times when we have to meet you where you are and pull you into where you ought to be. Because when a child steps to an adult and say, boy, miss your biggie, that's why I can't deal with a man, and they call us all manner of slurs. That too is something that we have to treat with as well.
If that teacher matches the energy, what would our response to that be? When someone says, boy, miss your biggie, commenting on the teacher's size, of course, perhaps fat shaming the teacher. How should the teacher respond?
Several teachers respond in several different ways.
Yes, but how do a teacher that matches that energy, how does that teacher respond?
You're not small leader. I mean, to be honest with you, especially when you're working with teenagers, there are times when a sarcastic remark lowers the temperature, but then again, it's contextual.
And then you can address the issue.
You can address some things. Again, what we do is that we rely on wisdom. We rely on emotional intelligence. We rely on the teacher understanding time, place, context, and not taking a cookie-cutter approach to every circumstance, because what worked on Monday morning won't work on Friday afternoon. Nevertheless, it does not mean, however, that what young Raheem said is not true. We do need to keep this public education going where some things are just not okay. We're very grateful the police is also on board, but we think that they too can also take quite seriously when the reports go to the police station that this person is saying that, or the person sent a threat to me, that those reports are taken.
You don't find that the police are now treating all cases seriously?
Not all cases, but I do find that many divisional heads are taking it quite seriously, and the links between school and the police and the community is strengthening as we speak up, speak out, and demand that.
I only have 30 seconds left, Mr. Nelson, and I'd love to hear you respond to what the Principal Jones just said about matching the energy. For example, in that case that we just heard, A student says, "Boy, Mr. Biggie," and the teacher says, "You're not small either." Is that kind of banter a good way to diffuse a situation like that?
In my opinion, no. Because, sometimes you have students who, speak bad about others, including teachers. So I don't think that it's about matching energy. A teacher should not stoop to